No, we don't need to. We don't. We actually don't. If you want me to not record it, I
I'm
don't.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I do not need to. And if at any point you want me to turn it off, I totally can. I just do it in case we are going to do anything that we need to share with anybody else.
It's valuable.
Yeah. That way we spread the wealth. Debbie, I know that you were on for Cortland. Wowzers, right? Love it.
He was really good.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I just finished processing the video, so we'll be sending the link out to everybody so that you can watch it again if you so choose.
Yeah, he was really good.
Was that just now? I tried to get in on that call, but
We did the free Friday coaching call. So he was on 2 weeks ago with us, and then he did a part 2 this morning. So hang on one second. I'll give you the playlist link so you can just go and watch both of them. 1 second.
Oh man, he was so good.
Here you go.
oh yeah, the first time he was on, I took massive notes.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, it's in there now. So yeah, it's always amazing, and I've heard a lot of what he's talked about, but I was still taking notes. I liked the quadrant. I hadn't heard that one yet. So
yeah, the quadrant was good.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought that was pretty powerful. So always so much from him, and always so much passion whenever he talks, right? And so much care about making an impact.
So that analogy of the butterfly turning from a cocoon to a butterfly, and then he said that the butterfly's way of protecting themselves is having a chaotic flight pattern, and I was just like,
yeah,
that
so
was.
Are you saying that I'm a butterfly, Debbie?
You're a beautiful butterfly. I am too.
Because I am walking chaos. I mean, I know no one else is chaotic as me. Like no one.
Well, I always love the analogy, and they've talked about it before when I first met Cortland with the butterfly, right? And they talk about how sometimes when we think we're helping people, or even people think they're helping us, and you've got the caterpillar and they go into their cocoon, and somebody comes along and they're like, oh, I'm going to help them out of their little chrysalis so they can turn into a butterfly sooner, right? And they come along and they're like, oh, I'm gonna cut a little opening in the chrysalis, and that's it. The butterfly dies. They can't make it, because they have to use their wings and learn the strength inside the chrysalis to break free, because that's how they develop the strength to have the wings to be able to do the chaotic, like flying pattern thing. And it's fascinating. Well, the other side of things that they taught us whenever we were in the class when I met Cortland was, it's fascinating to me because I did not know this. When a caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, you think that it's just sort of changing, right? Like it's already still a caterpillar, and like maybe the pieces grow out of the caterpillar and turn into the butterfly. I don't know if you know this, but that's not how it happens. They basically turn into black goo on the inside of the chrysalis. It's like they just like bleh, and then reform.
So it's like a rebirth.
Like it's like total goo, and then have to become something totally new. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, like you have to just like, and so when I was in my class, in the second level of the class that he taught, at one point someone said, they were always asking, how are you feeling? And I was like, I feel like black goo. I feel like I'm currently black goo.
I'm in transition. I'm at the black goo place.
Black goo.
About to break out and be a butterfly.
Yeah. And it was like, I think we could all kind of relate to that, right? Like at some point you just kind of turn into that whole like, bleh, like whatever, but it's because you're hopefully moving into that next stage of like something completely new and different, because you're letting go, because I mean, that caterpillar is letting go of everything it once was, right? In order to transform completely. It's a total transformation. And I was like, and so it was funny because the guy looked at me and he goes, well, that's not really a feeling, but I can appreciate what you're thinking right there. I was like, I'm in black goo stage, black goo, totally black goo. So very, very powerful. All right. So obviously today's call is about systems with Selina. Anybody got anything on their mind in particular today? Jen, you seem a little chaos focused. Is there something that we could pull together for you so that you feel like
Well, I don't know that it's fair for me to even talk because I've missed a lot of them. My assistant was on a lot of them. So
That's okay.
I should probably just shut my mouth. But if Debbie doesn't have anything, then I will bring it up.
Go for it.
Okay.
I've been on calls a
So-
lot and I'm good.
Okay, so we got to travel back in time and to a time when I was married and I helped my ex-husband and I used a CRM called Top Producer.
Mhm.
And when we did, we had great like emails, birthdays, client, like all the shit, all the things were perfect. And then got a divorce, didn't have a CRM for a while, rebuilt my business. Then I used Follow Up Boss, which is okay, but not great. And then I went to Firepoint. No, then I went to Krista's program and I used RealVolve, which to me is like sticking your head in a car door and slamming it, and it doesn't have lead generation. Right. And so then I went to Firepoint and Firepoint was all lead generation and it didn't have anything that I needed from RealVolve. And then I went to KV Core and I'm on a team platform of KV Core and it cost me $400 a month. And to me, it's a waste of money because it doesn't track transactions. You can hook it up to SkySlope, but it doesn't put like, this is your volume to the year. This is what's Coral's volume to the year. This is where you're at. This is what you have coming. Like it doesn't have all the things that I need. So then I was looking at Krista's Mayshore method, which seems to be go high level. And I'm not in it yet, but I think that go high level will send out like the emails, will track and we'll do the lead gen, but I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know if I should continue because you can't get into the Mayshore method unless you do something called modules, which I don't even know. Like I'm struggling in finding whatever she's calling a module, right? Like in her Kajabi, like makes no sense. Anyways, so I just don't know what I should do. Should I tank my KV Core? Now, mind you, it's going to take me a week to do it no matter what I do, because I have Sphere clients in there and lead generation clients. So I have like 8,000 leads, right? Or people in there. So I don't know. Or should I use 2 friggin' systems? Because, KV Core is good for like lead gen and not like presentations. I don't know. Like this is where I am. And until I get that piece figured out, I can't implement shit,
Okay. Okay. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
And you've switched a lot, which means you've had downtime as a result of switching, right? And a lot of confusion. So I totally get that 100%. So it's very difficult to find one program that is going to do all of the things, right?
Mhm.
We've all seen it. And one that's going to do like even just like you said with KV Core, that's going to track lead generation all the way through to transaction and everything beautifully and perfectly. They're just not designed to do that. The only one that I've seen semi do that is linking it into something called Sisu, SISU. And unfortunately, Sisu and KV Core don't talk.
Right.
Super annoying. And I can say that as a workman coach because we make all of our workman clients try to use Sisu. And I'm like, it doesn't talk to KV Core and several of the other big ones like Real Geeks and things like that, which is really frustrating. But it does do all of the transaction management. Like if you put the lead into Sisu, you can see it all the way from the moment it becomes a lead and all the way to the end. Here's my GCI pending, all of the stuff all the way to close. I will tell you, I do not use Sisu for Rick's business. I use something called CTE, and it's called Commitment to Excellence. It's I'm still grandfathered in because I've been using it since the dawn of time, but it's $39.99 a month, and it is like a spreadsheet on steroids. However, it does not link. So I'm going to give you an example of what to expect from it. So we keep everything in KV Core, right? Spheres in there, leads are in there, everything happens in there. The moment something turns into a pre-listing or a buyer that's going into contract, it goes into CTE, right? That's the only time that it warrants going into that system. And it tracks it from that point forward. At pre-listing, it goes in and I put in what the house is going to be listed for. I put in whatever the listing agent got the commission rate at, et cetera. And now it's telling me what we're going to earn on that potentially, right? Based on what it will sell for and what the pending volume would be and all of that stuff. So now, well, actually, let me just pull it up. I'm gonna pull up last year's numbers so you see
Well,
what
it
it
sounds like you kind of need a combination, excuse me, a
Of
combination of KV Core, Sky Slope, and doesn't EXP offer all of your sales data that you need?
Are you looking for something that's more like a dashboard view though?
Like a dashboard view, so I can say, like instantaneously, I can go to it and I can say Coral has 1, 2, 3, 4 Seller Street, this one coming in Netherland, this one coming in Boulder, because we're on, like my team, we're on opposite sides of the city. And honestly, I'm so visual. It will not lodge in my head until I can physically see it. And the other thing is like with my TC, I got a TC Christine to come in-house because no offense, Debbie, but I'm tired of having these TCs that send, multiple emails that I feel like should be branded to the team. So, yeah. So I want to know that things were done too. Like I want to be able to go into 1, 2, 3, 4 Seller Street and know that the inspection email went out, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so this is like spreadsheet on steroids. There's like 9,000 tabs on the bottom. I don't even use all the tabs. I've never used all the tabs and I've been using this spreadsheet for over 10 years, but don't panic. This is the dashboard. So this is what it looks like as you are, getting the information. So this is his 2022 year numbers, right? So that's why I wanted to pull up something that had good data in it. So if this is like in New York, when I ran the team there, this was always on our giant television for the whole team to see. We always kind of had it in there so that people could kind of see the numbers as it was this was a living document all the time, right? What you're seeing here, the line was based on what the goals we set as a team. Now, it wasn't just a team, it was based on each individual agent in October had to give me what their individual goals were. And then that got put in and that determined what our team goals were, right? So that's done under business plan every year in October, where they give me what their stuff is. And then it then gives me what the line will be based on that. The numbers that you're seeing here, when it's white, it's closed. That's what got closed every month in relation to the goal. And then you see over here, red, it's red whenever it's pending or projected close, right? So if this month was still pending, you would see some of it would be white, some of it would be red, sort of a thing. So you know what you've got coming. So it's telling you at any given time, like now there we had 9 active listings at the end of the year. That volume, if it was all to close, would have been 15 million. The GCI from it if it closed at the amount we had it listed for would have been another 409,000. There is a way to utilize this better if your buyer's agents are actually keeping track of how many real A buyers they have currently and what their actual purchase, price would be if they were to purchase. This is how many are in contract, and this is what's closed year to date. Again, always a living document, right? Now, what I want you to see is this is also updating. So in New York, I worked for someone who was a very high C. So he always wanted these numbers all the time, because sellers would ask him too, right? He could ask me, and in about 2 seconds, I could give it to him. What's my average listing sale price? What's my average buy side sale price, right? Because this is updated every day with the most recent information from the whole team, and we had about 16 people on the team, this was always the most accurate number based on whatever was pending or whatever had sold, right? Because we were closing about 16 to 20 a month. So it was always, go ahead.
So this is like the whole team.
This is the whole team.
And
this
then
is
you can
team. Yeah.
And then you can drop down and you can see
individual
Coral's number.
Yep. So I'll show you that in just a second. So like when we come down here, it's breaking it down by quarter. And then when you come down here, it's like telling you where you are in relation to what you said you wanted to earn. then it's like, this is like your whiteboard on what's coming. Now, here's if you want to run a competition, you can do a drop down and you can say, is it going to be on sold units or volume? And it starts to run it by whoever's in there, right?
Yeah.
Do I want it on first quarter or second quarter?
For year
Okay.
to date or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is, right? You can run a competition, and then down here, again, you've got it broken down. This is just a custom dashboard based on what you want to look at. More often, you know, everybody's a little different on what they feel like is important, and what they're looking at. And so that's kind of the home page. My business is where you're entering that data. Now, this has to be manually entered.
Mhm.
I don't let anybody touch my sheet. Every time I gave access to anybody else, they freaking messed it up and I'd lose my freaking mind. Okay. Like I had an operations manager that swore to me she was great with spreadsheets. She broke this damn thing every single time. And Calvin Mergen is the one who designed it. And I'd have to like email Calvin. I'm like, she broke it again. And he'd fix it. And I'm like, that's it. Forget it. I'll do my own damn data entry. It's not that much. And I knew then it was accurate, right? Because
That's why you're my people.
you know, and I know that's something I should delegate and you should be able to train somebody, but when it's like, for me, it was about the reason that I would do it. Let me tell you why. When I put the numbers in, I 100% I was like the fourth check at that point by the time the numbers were going in to ensure that we double checked what the commission was on the listing agreement. Nobody got it wrong when it got put into SkySlope. I double checked, did we owe a referral fee? Because my God, my TC manager missed it every freaking time. I don't care how many places I had it highlighted in green. Like, so by the time I was putting it in here, I was that last set. And I was like, we're not missing the referral fee. The commission is accurate. Is the split with the agent what we agreed upon? And like, by the time it got into this sheet, it was 100% true.
Yeah,
And I knew
like,
exactly what was happening.
like my TC. So one of the things is she missed on this. I told her, I'm like, it's your job to check that the TC fee is on the clear to the CDA. If I miss it and you got the CDA, I'm sorry. Like, I can't afford to, like, because she's done it twice. And I'm like, I'm not paying you from now on. Like,
That's part of what you
so
do.
I agree. Like, this is great, you know?
So you can see it's a lot of data here, but it lets you break down. Like, let's say you had 2 agents working on it and there were multiple agents. You can split it by however many there are. It's going to calculate for you by whatever you say the percentage is. You can put in, like, if they've capped out, you can put in their anniversary cap dates for each person. It'll calculate for you. There's a lot of functionality inside of this thing. And so up here, you're seeing, again, active listings. And all of the information at the top is going to kind of give you like when you're in this page, you're still getting a lot of info, and it'll track your pre-listing status, everything. Like, so this, I call it my Bible, right? So I'm in it all the time. In New York, I lived in it. I had a TV in my office that always had it up on the screen. So it was also great for recruiting because people would come in and see it and be like, wow. So this is just really your entry page. This is like where you're putting the stuff. Now, see, you can see when you're putting the commission in, this is where it's starting to figure out for you, like, average commission, right? This is where when I started putting this in, I went to Rick and I said, you're not charging enough. Your listing commission is too low. Like, what's happening? Why are you?
That is 1.25%.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? Why are you selling yourself so short? Like, let's have a real conversation about this. But that's what starts to happen. Now, there's, like I said, a billion things in here you could go to. Debbie, it'll track daily success habits. You can put it in here and then you can run contests from that. You have all kinds of dashboard. I don't know why it's running so slow. I guess because I'm on Zoom. It'll there's like a bazillion dashboards in here. Again, see his average listing commissions 2.13% from last year, just because he was constantly giving so many things. There's a financial statement if you want to see if you're in alignment. Like, at the end of every month, I can take the QuickBooks stuff and see if I'm in alignment with where I wanted to be, and it'll show what your profit was after all of your GCI and like what you actually spent. There's a CEO board, right? Just kind of gives you a lot of information on what January looked like, February looked like in one quick look, March, etc. Now, what you were asking about which was one of my favorite things Calvin did. Let me see if I can get over here. Nope. Let's see. I've got too many things open. Hang on. is he created where you could have your one-on-ones with your agents. So I could just choose that it was Cindy. Hang on. Now, I love this little person over here he created. So they didn't have any goals that they had set, right? Because I wasn't with Rick at that time. But normally you would say whatever their goal was in there, I just put in 100,000, right? Whatever. She actually closed over that. But so I just put in 100,000 for her. It would, let's say that her goal was 100,000 and she'd only closed 80, she would have like a little line on her body at her shoulders. That would be like,
that's cool. Yeah.
like you're only full up to here, sort of thing.
Out of the black goo, but you're still partly black goo.
Yeah. But for them, when I would have my one-on-ones, right, it gives me a very quick overview and I could see what they had in the pipeline. I could see what was pre-signed. Did they have any active listings, et cetera? Like here was her closed volume. Right now I have her individual closed volume because she could care less what the team's doing.
Right.
She doesn't give a crap about that front page, right? Like
Right.
she didn't care. She wanted to sit down with me and talk about this, right? Which I could then give her, and I could give her all of her numbers, exactly what she earned every month, right? Depending on what was happening, her GCI, what was her average sale price during those months, et cetera. So there's like I said, there's like a million things down here. And it seems like a lot, but realistically, everything that you're getting from this is just being entered on this page. It's just the one page. Like the first setup is the business plan. I spend some time in October. I go through, I mean, it's pretty easy. You'll see. I mean, you're basically just, you go through the list. Like, it's like you put in the agent name, you put in the team. Is it a simple goal setup? You know, how much taxes do you, if you want to include your taxes on it, what's the broker split, or, you know, whatever it is, you fill it all out and then it calculates that little line for you on the front page. But realistically, you meet with every team member and you say, what's your goals? And you put that in based on whatever their splits are. And it's going to give you all of this.
And what is the name of this program again?
So you go to ctebiz.com, ctebiz.com.
Yeah.
Calvin Mergen used to be with Keller Williams a long time ago, and he created it back then, and it was just for KW agents. Well, then it got wildly popular and everyone else started wanting to use it. A lot of my coaching clients use it because they prefer it. They don't want to. Sisu is amazing. I'm going to tell you, it's amazing and it's very analytical, but doesn't feed. And it can be a little more cumbersome to figure out all the ins and outs of the pieces. This is like, oh, I can fill in a spreadsheet. Yeah. Okay. Click, 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 click. You know, and then it feeds to all of these places, right? Anybody can fill out a spreadsheet and say, oh, here was the commission. Here was the price. Oh yeah, 2 agents worked on it. So, you know, they're splitting it 50-50, whatever. And bada bing, bada boom. You're like, now all of a sudden, all the information is in there. I looked at it always as, here's what we closed. Here's what I can expect to earn next month based on what's pending, you know, and like, and just Jen, for you, there's actually checklists built in further in the whole thing. Like if you have a TC, it will feed, if you have stuff in contract, and it'll be like, you can put at the top, at the checklist, all of the things that have to be done. And like, she has to click it and be like, I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it. And for a team leader, that allows you to say, you know, hey, I can track every single step.
So you can click on the property and you can go, this email went out, this email went out, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So the second part of this question is, I don't know if you, so like when you go under contract, right? And we'll say it's for a seller, and I want the system that I can type the dates in, right? Or it could link to CTME, which is what we use. And if it links, right, then the dates automatically go in, and then it triggers the system to automatically send, hey, seller, your inspection is going to be next week. Make sure that you change the filters, you wipe down your furnace, you clear out under your sink. If you have any service records, put them on the counter so that the buyer can see it, right? Like that email. I don't feel like I should have my, and I know you said this before, right? I don't feel like I should have my TC having to regenerate that every single transaction. It should just be in a system that automatically goes, and KV Core cannot do that.
No, I mean, the
What-
best one I've seen was Rollvolve for that. I mean, but that's the one that I used. It's the best one
So-
that I know to use because it was the best one that I used.
So what you're really telling me is that if I had the initiative to create a CRM that was all inclusive for real estate agents,
I had my husband working on that for almost 2 years. It's almost
didn't-
impossible to do. Just because it's hard to get something to do all the things, but she should never be recreating that. She could create email templates in Gmail. And all she has
Yeah.
to do is fill in the blank.
okay.
Do
I
you
see
know how
what
to
you're
do
saying.
that?
Yeah, you just create the template, put
Template.
it in there, and then in CTE, the checklist goes, I sent this email.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally, like, I mean, I send a ton of stuff that's the same, right? So I save templates all the time, mostly on my coaching side, but it's like everybody asks me for the same thing all the time, especially when I get a new client. And so I have like, I don't know how many templates saved in there, but all I do is change the name, change the date, or, or whatever it is, but I just go to it, open the correct template. And RTC, even though we used Revolve at a very high level, sometimes there were just basic things that were just repetitive. Anytime you send out one email more than once, just create a template for it and save it, name it that. And then all you're doing is you're making sure that inside the template, what I do to like draw my eye to the thing I know I have to change every time is inside of the template that is in capital letters and underlined. Like, so that as I'm going to make the change, I'm like, oh, the last thing I want to do is be like, insert name here, and leave it there. So it's like in big capital letters and bolded and underlined so that I know before I hit send, in that email template, anything that needed to be changed, like a date, or they'll be there at this date at this time, here's your inspection, and this company will be coming, here's their phone number in case you need to make a change, right? That's inside the template, just to remind your TC, like before you hit send, you've checked that all of these 4 sections or whatever it is have been changed. But it's so amazingly easy now to save templates and have that ready to go for anything like that. That
Okay.
all you're doing is like, hey, and then she goes into CTE and she's like, did it.
So basically, I just need to spend a weekend, take all the stuff that you talked about in the seller systems, pull them out, throw them into templates, and put seller templates, buyer templates.
Yeah.
Something
I mean, if
template.
you're not going to use something like Revolve, then, I mean, the beauty of Revolve, and again, it is cumbersome, and I love Revolve. Like I built like crazy. I mean, I built crazy.
I love it. I just felt like you needed
I
a
know, it's a
master's
lot.
degree, and I'm
do.
not as like, I don't know what your disc is, but I'm the girl that has all the intentions of doing my taxes, all the intentions of uploading my themes. But honestly, it doesn't happen until there's MAGA pressure to get it done. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So that's
It's
why I
okay.
want to like
Yeah.
get it done.
Well, and the thing is to just use the thing that's going to work for you. Right. And like, if it's templates, then use the templates and just master it and get it done. I know people who tried to use Revolve, did the exact same thing. It's like a lot to manage. You got to have like a super nerd on like standby. Okay. I mean, when Mark signed up for Revolve in New York, that's why he hired me. Literally, that was how I started with him. He called me up and he was like, I bought this program. I don't have the capacity to like get it going. Can I hire you to come in? And like for months, that is all I did. 8 hours a day. I wanted to rip all of my eyelashes out, but I took all of his systems and processes for listing and buying home, everything. And let me tell you, it's the highest C I've ever met. So you can imagine what it was. It was like pages and pages and pages. And I built his Revolve workflows, all of them. And I mean, it took me forever, but they were amazing when we were done. All of the templates were uploaded. Everything was automated. Like you said, somebody would say the TC would schedule a date for inspection and nobody had to do anything. As soon as the date was input, the email went out. Boom.
That's what I want. So maybe
Yeah.
I just go back to Revolve and just
They
hire
have
somebody.
a system. They have a thing there where you can hire them to do it at Revolve. They have I forget what it's called, navigator program.
It's like $3,500.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I
You know,
paid for
back-
it and I never used it.
Back
Oh.
when we were in Krista's program, it was
And that was
only
in Chris's
like,
program.
it was only like 1,700 a year or something.
Wow.
Now it's like,
I paid to have mine all set up and whatever. And I think I paid like three grand or like $3,500. And I was like, you know what? If it's gonna be this amazing, then I want to do it. And I was like, oh my God. And I I don't even think I put my database in. I never did a single thing in it. And I'm like, God, that was such a waste of money.
Okay, so Selena, what do you use now? Do you use Real Valve now? No,
No.
yes, maybe. Okay.
No,
So,
Rick's TC won't use it.
so what do you use? You use
Nothing.
KV Core?
I mean, he uses KV Core for lead flow and she does her transaction stuff. We have a listing coordinator that we pay, you know, contract wise that gets things ready. And she will, I mean, she has a lot of template emails. So that's what she does. She's just using template emails to send everything out. And she's very hands-on with people. The TC that we have also works for many other agents and she will not utilize anything outside of her normal stuff.
That's
So
why I brought one on for my, like, and she's an agent too, so, yeah.
If SkySlope would just have that other component to it, that those two, KV Core and SkySlope, would be the most amazing
I
team.
know.
Like if SkySlope would have that dashboard type capability, like what you just showed us.
Yeah.
To be more in depth than just transaction management, but actual.
I'd show you the,
Yeah. Because I don't even think you can get reports in SkySlope. Like I'd love to know my year to date. You know where I go find it?
On the
Honestly,
enterprise, or
No.
tell me you don't go to MLS.
Zillow.
No.
I go to MLS because
I don't even know how to look it up in my MLS because my MLS is ridiculous. Like the visuals of it are just horrible. But I go to Zillow because at every closing, I mark every single one of my sales in Zillow. And I know that's where it's accurate. And I go to Zillow and then I keep my own separate spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm going to something right now, so hang tight because I'm going
And
to.
she's about to shoot us both.
I know.
No,
I
I'm
should
not.
go
I'm just
to-
going to give you a free tool right now that at least will give you something that is not as robust as CTE, but it's a workman tool. Hang on one second, I'm getting there.
Well, I made my own spreadsheet and it's a pipeline spreadsheet. And it's very similar to the Workman tracker.
Yeah.
I was in the Ninja program too. So I had the Ninja tracker, which was really a cool spreadsheet.
Hang on.
And so I kind of made my own because I didn't need all the different numbers. I'm not that number focused. I mean, I am to a degree, but not like super duper like, whoa, you know, I do like words too. So I made my own little pipeline tracker and I do it from year to year.
Okay, so worst case scenario, you can go and use the Workman one, which is going to keep track of like most of my clients who were doing this before we had CSU. I mean, you can go in and you can put in closed transactions and whatnot, and it's going to give you sale price, commission, fees, amount paid to agent, team net commission, and you can drop and you can keep track of your sources. And then it's going to give you summary data. So you could actually get, like, if you wanted all of your numbers all of the time and break it down by agents, this is like a very, very simple fill in the blank sort of, you know, easy peasy spreadsheet that's going to track all of that for you. But again, somebody has to fill it. Now, my TC did it. Like, even though we had that giant CTE sheet, I made her put every single thing in here because this was where I went to pull my data for CTE, right? So this was me going and saying, didn't she miss the damn referral fee? Like, I'd go in there and I'd be like, because that was where I would go in, right? And it was her job to go and figure out where the source was. Like if it wasn't in Boomtown, somebody didn't put it in or whatever, she had to call the agent and say, hey, where'd you get that buyer? Like, was it open house? What was it? Whatever. So that I at least had all of this data by the time that, and like I said, I was the final checkpoint before it went to corporate for them to cut that check, right? But she was doing it here, and then I was pulling the data, so I wasn't going to have to look it up somewhere else. But this is a very easy spreadsheet. I put it in the link for you in the chat so that you could use it. But you could start there. And if you feel like, hey, I got this under wraps, then you could graduate to CTE Biz. It's going to give you a lot of that same data. It's not going to tell you your average list price. It's not going to tell you your average buy price, but you could get it from that. All you have to do is like highlight the whole column, and then in the bottom right-hand corner, you click on that little thing and it'll tell you your sum or your average or whatever it is. But if you want to see, Jen, how committed you are to getting the data, or your TC is to getting the data, that could be her responsibility. It's like,
To
hey,
start with Workman and then maybe move into CTE.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just to the point where I need to know that she did it without her
Yep.
saying that she did
She
it.
did it.
And so if I can have the checklist, I mean, $40 a month is worth it to me, because I don't want Coral calling me up and going, she never sent out an email, blah, 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 blah. You know, because you know how that shit goes on the team, where one person goes, I don't want to pay her TC fee because she didn't send out the memo.
Yeah.
And here I am in an appointment, and I'm having to tell my people to undo the utilities. And you're just like on the phone line.
Well, Jen, we have two things that typically happen. You either have a people problem or you have a process problem.
I have both right now.
Okay.
I know exactly what I have.
Yeah, but that is primarily a process problem,
And
because
it's
if there was a checklist, she could see, like, I didn't miss it. Like
Yeah.
she would be able to see it. Like a checklist. Well, some people don't need one as they get into the flow of it. Debbie, you probably don't need one as much anymore. You're like, I got this, right? But some people visually need to see it. Like,
I visually need to see it, unless I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, but whenever you start getting into like getting multiple phone calls a day, help, I lose track of where the transactions are. So, and I don't feel like I should have to know where the transaction is if I'm paying someone.
yeah,
Right? So I'm paying you.
yeah. Well, my suggestion is start there. Start right there. And here's what I usually do, especially as I'm like taking on a new client or something like that, whenever I'm coaching and I'm trying to teach their admin how to use this, I have them go and take the prior year's full data, pull it from wherever you have it, EXP, MLS, whatever, and I make them do the prior year first. And that's how they learn how to fill out the spreadsheet. Because I also want to know what their numbers were from the prior year. Especially when someone comes to me and they're like, I don't know how many I sold. I don't know what I don't know what my GCI was. I have no idea what my volume was. I'm like, how do you not know? So the very first thing their TC does or their admin does is pull last year's numbers, enter them all into the spreadsheet. And now they're like, okay, going forward, I totally know how to do it this year. And every time it happens, I'm going to put it in. But now we also have something to compare to from last year. And now you're like, oh, wow, my average price last year was this, because now I can see it. Oh, and my average commission was this, because now I can see it. So now you've got more data too. And everyone's incentivized by like, wow, we just got a lot more information. This is why we do it. Right? Before, whenever I tell somebody to input data, they're like, when am I going to put data in? I hate putting data in. Stupid. And I'm like,
How do you get data out?
this is, yeah. And I'm like, this is why we do it, because look at what we just got told. Yay.
I love putting the data in. I just haven't done it in a long time. I mean,
so I would start there. And then start with the templated emails. And so if you decide that you want to escalate, you want to go forward with RealVolve, then you have all your templates built already. So think about it from that perspective.
Yeah. So, Gia, so you work with Gia, and Gia has a team. Does he have, how many people does he have on his team?